for those now, the interesting thing about Video Music Box is if you live in New York, anybody who grew up in New York, and especially in a certain neighborhood, you know, I always tell people I didn't get cable, and I grew up in the South Bronx. We didn't get cable until I got out of undergrad in '95. So the only way you saw videos was whatever videos that you picked. But if you're not from the city and you had maybe BT or MTV Raps, you don't understand the context. But kind of take us back a little bit to give you a quick little summary of how you got rolling.
Well, I graduated from college and went to New York Institute of Technology and Film and Television, Bachelor of Fine Arts. And I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? I was working as an engineer at this TV station, which was, I'd never even heard of it. I just got an internship there. And they said, when you graduate, we'll give you a job. And I was like, all right, so I got a job as an engineer. It was actually a city job. It was a city position. And I started working there and pulling cables and working cameras and doing audio, all the technical stuff that goes about putting a TV production together. And I was watching the programs that they had on the station. And we were like, you know, basically like a shadow of whatever PBS, the main channel was, 13 here in New York. So we played like stuff that they had already played like a week ago, then we played it. And I was like, why would people want to watch this? Like, you know, we played it, you know. But whatever the case was, and then we played like fire department training tapes and NYPD training tapes, and I was like, oh man, don't they have like an office they can watch this? You know? And so, you know, that was what I did. You know, I sat there and made sure that those shows, you know, looked right and stuff like that. And then one day, we got these tapes in. This was around '82, and it was from Solon Records. Now, prior to me, I mean, at the same time I was working there, I was also a DJ. I started out as a DJ, like when I was 14. I was working in clubs, in bars. It was the guys that, you know, back in the days I had a lot of equipment, plugging into lampposts, you know, in the park, that whole scene. And so I was into the music, you know, heavy. And these tapes came in and they said like Solon Records, and I knew Solon Records was like a big label for R&B music and discos and kind of stuff, like artists like Shalimar and Whispers and Carrie Lucas and these like, and there were all these performances of these groups doing songs that I knew, like And the Beat Goes On and, you know, Night to Remember. They were performing these songs. They weren't really videos. It was just like them, like standing there in front of this, and they were singing it. But it was, you know, set to a track. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. You know, what is this? You know? And I said, we should do something with it. So I sat on it for a month or two, and then I said, you know, we should make a show, just put all of this together, and that would be a show. And took it to the program director, and he was like, you know, I don't know if people would be into that. You know, why would they want to watch this? You know, I'm like, well, I would watch it if I was home, you know. And these tapes were basically used to kind of like send out to press to just bring them awareness of the groups. And so you send it out to the New York Times, or you send it out to, you know, ABC Channel 7, so you can know who these groups were. They were just electronic press kits, but not quite the way they are today. And so anyway, one day they came up and they said, look, we want to use those tapes. We're going to do a fundraiser. So, you know, like Channel 13, that's fundraisers, and then, you know, people on the phone and that whole scene. So we played the tapes, we played the videos. By that time, I kind of was searching now for other videos like that. So I came across ones like by Lionel Richie, Pointer Sisters, not too much hip-hop back then, because hip-hop really wasn't really making videos yet. And we started to compile all these videos, and we played them in the fundraiser, and basically from there, that was kind of planting the seed of what Video Music Box would be 2 years later, or a year later. And by '83, it was, you know, like, all right, what are we going to do? They tried to do their own show. They kind of really tried to steal my idea, and they called it Studio 31 Dance Party, and I was just the voice of it, you know, but they picked the videos, and I was like, nah, you guys are picking right stuff. By this time, you know, I'm still working in clubs. I'm coming across now hip-hop videos, but they weren't getting played anymore. The guys were just shooting them, you know. And I said, you know, almost it was like the middle of '83, and I said, we got to get the show on. And they were kind of delayed, and then New York Hot Tracks came on. And I was like, this is it. It's on ABC. Like ABC was like, it was like being on the network, and it was the network.
Yeah.
So, but it was only local that you saw New York Hot Tracks, and so that was kind of like enough to prove to them that this was going to work, and they should put it on a regular basis. So they put me on every day, well not every day, but Monday through Friday, after school 3:30, 4:30, and Saturdays at 12 noon. And that was the beginning of the calling it Video Music Box at that point. And
It basically started as a graduate thesis, and while I was at NYU doing that thesis program, I took those 2 years to take every single class and devote it to building a museum. So it was an arts administration program, so if they had a website class, I built the website. If they had a budget, I did the budget for the next 4 years for the museum, or an exhibition design class. So when I finished, I had this whole website, branding and marketing campaign, strategic plan, business plan. So I felt very empowered leaving graduate school because I had this idea. But then at the same time, it really teeter-tottered on only being an idea. I still was like, I'm gonna go get a job, but I have this complete project. But fortunately for me, a lot of people, my parents included, ironically enough, forced me to do it almost in a way, because usually when you have an interest in the arts, families are not necessarily always trying to promote that. So my mom and dad were basically like, you spent these 2 years and all this education developing this idea, you're gonna just leave it at that? And I was like, yeah, it's an idea. But they're like, no, I think you really should try and do this. And so I kind of teeter-tottered for the next 4 years in terms of a sense of like, it's too hard, I don't want to do it. It's too hard, I don't want to do it. But it's kind of almost like when you go to the beach or the ocean and you don't want to get your hair wet, and you just kind of playing in the ocean, then a wave comes over and just you're in it. So that was kind of like how I actually wound up being in the institution. But we stayed in Bedford-Stuyvesant in a 4th floor walk-up for about 6 years. And it was really a very phenomenal experience for me just to see how supportive the community was as far as getting the museum to where it is. And then after the 6th year, there was an opportunity to move downtown Brooklyn in the BAM Cultural District. And I say opportunity, but it was really, I kind of railroaded my way into that project. It wasn't necessarily the plan for me to be there, but I wanted to be downtown and I wanted to be in the cultural district. And I made that known, and I let the powers that be know that. And eventually we found ourselves on the ground floor of the new James E. Davis 80 Arts Building. And we've been there now for an additional 6 years. And now we are in the process of determining what our next steps will be. And I tell you, it changes by the hour in my mind mentally, because we have an opportunity to build a new space. I use the word opportunity very lightly. I have an opportunity to railroad my way through the project, but I don't quite know if I'm going to be allowed to railroad my way. I don't know if I have enough railway to kind of push my way through into building something. Kind of pushing yourself into a renovation project is a little bit easier, because it's like you're pushing your way into it, of an existing space, but now trying to push your way into something that doesn't currently exist is a little bit more challenging. So we're basically trying to understand at this point what type of institution we are in terms of looking at our space as it being is our current space just like a home base where we can go and expand and do other projects all over the world, or do we want a major state-of-the-art building in the downtown Brooklyn area? So we're teeter-tottering on that, and we're just really excited at this point to have the Video Music Box exhibition and the collaboration with Ralph McDaniels in the space currently, and it's really been our most successful exhibition to date. So we're very happy and excited about the visibility, and I would say the win-win that it's created for us both, right?